Excellent, cool. I'm waiting on that next revolutionary piece of hardware to come out, right? Something that's going to change the game. Let's scale quickly. All right, there we go. I'm Jim Kessler, by the way.
I'm Allison Flavin.
And we're from Jacobs. And for those of you who may or may not know who Jacobs is, it's a global engineering solution provider, providing a wide range of services, everything from small local solutions, like right now we're working at DFW, helping to realign the airport entrances and ramps to the different terminals, which you all may have experienced, kind of unique experience, but we're working on things like that, to even larger global water solutions and things where we're working to develop a more connected, sustainable world. Even like exciting things. I've been with Jacobs for 25 years, and I always learn kind of on a consistent basis something new I didn't know we did the day before. So we actually designed the Artemis spacesuit that's going to be going to the moon here pretty soon. So kind of interesting fact there, and then a lot of other things that are really exciting. So what Allison and I are going to talk today about is a number of things focused across the board with XR, but also, as we've seen here, a lot of people talking about what a digital twin is. I think in the back of my head I'm going, well, what does a digital twin have to do with XR? Well, immersion experience, right? Data, connectivity, visualization, all that provides a very potent way of interacting and delivering that content. So a little bit of background about myself. I've been with Jacobs for 25 years. I come from an architectural education, and I'm currently the global technology leader for extended reality in a group called Market Solutions, and digital delivery specifically, which both Allison and I are part of, which is rethinking how do we deliver projects to clients and communities using digital transformation, ideas and concepts. At the same time, I'm the visual media director for Jacobs. I have a group of about 30 artists, technologists, and developers across the globe delivering a wide range of visual communication solutions and strategies. And these are everything from simple web development all the way into extended reality, digital twins, and things like that. Kind of across the board, I always state that we're the ones that help turn the light bulbs on. We take dense project information and turn it into something that people can understand at many levels, and then again, engage with communities and so forth. And so as part of this, Allison and I were kind of brainstorming, well, what does it mean what is XR, how did XR impact our lives individually? So maybe on something that's not work-related. So I'll give you my little geeky tech story. So again, obviously, probably many of us are computer geeks and love computer environments and so forth. I'm a sim racer, so I do a lot of sim racing. So I've toyed a lot with XR and use it for different versions of different softwares and so forth, but then also, kind of leading into that, I don't use sim racing just to do sim racing. I also race cars in real life. So the story there, I guess the nut of it is really the fact that what you do in there has a direct applicability to what you can do in real life. And it makes you better from having done that and understanding what that environment looks like, and then understanding specifically like tracks. We only drive a track. If I've never been to there, and I've been on sim racing and done it for 1,000 laps, I show up, I'm ready to go. I'm not having to learn something. So that direct way kind of XR has impacted my life.
Mine is a little connected to work because my introduction to XR, specifically VR, was as an intern. So as an intern, we always joked in our department that when you put a headset on someone, you find a lot more about them. You find out a lot more about them. So what we would do is we would play a game, and they would put you in the headset. It was Robo Recall, if any of you know what that one is. And they would see how you would do in a VR headset. And then that way, when you went out throughout your whole internship, they would kind of see how that ties together with how you reacted. We have some people that curl up in a ball and scream because you have robots coming at you. You have some people that are just attacking them, that they want to know how that actually ties to your work.
Allison, you want to give a little background on yourself?
Yeah, and a little bit about me, I guess. I've been at Jacobs for 2 years now with our digital delivery group. A little bit younger and newer to Jacobs as a whole, but I work specifically with XR with our life sciences division, and bringing all of these tools to our project teams from everywhere from our architecture, engineering, and construction.
Excellent. So what we're going to do today, we're going to take our Jacobs motto, which is challenging today and reinventing tomorrow, and set the stage for how XR is impacting that throughout a number of different areas and practices and so forth. These will be focused primarily on things that we're delivering XR in. So design visualization, it's the lowest hanging fruit in terms of XR. Design development and review, client public engagement, training, and then into the digital twin things. And I think what we're going to do is each one of them, we're going to start by talking about challenging today and how we're using that technology today and how we've deployed it and where we see opportunities. And then we'll jump to reinventing tomorrow, which will be more of an open dialogue about where we think things are going. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about, Allison's going to talk a little bit about design visualization.
So what we use right now is what you see on the screen is the Wild from Autodesk. And so for us, for the visualization, early on in the design process, this is great for our architecture teams to be able to have this communication with our clients, as well as being able to talk to our engineers and bring in this additional information into this space so they can really see what their model is going to be like, what their new project is going to be, and we can have a meeting space together where we can all talk around the model, and we can talk together about what's going to happen in the future before it actually happens.
And then you also have the ability, that software has the ability to bring in other data, right?
Yeah, so
you can combine.
See here
yeah,
we have the 4D video from our other teams. So we're really using the tools that other people within our company have and bringing it into this XR space.
And one thing I'll say about the Wild in itself is we can imagine these XR experiences having to do with an avatar or some type of replication of a human experience. And we've probably all seen MetaHuman from Epic and so forth, and some of these crazy quality things. But there's this kind of middle ground where currently based on technology, I think the Wild did a great job of creating an avatar, the Escher People avatar, which actually has, if you're in that environment, you see the auditory expression by the change of the geometry. So there is some indication and immersion of the Wild using the avatar-based environment. So I think it's an appropriate level for what type of content that is. Jumping a little bit into, let's say, more of a traditional design visualization that delivers, obviously, either early schematic concept design development or final kind of high-level design. What we're looking at is we're delivering things with the common tools like Twinmotion, Inkscape, and some of the other tools. But at the same time, what we're doing is we're starting to develop a baseline design visualization template format in both the Unity and Unreal. And what those allow us to do is not only interactively provide visualization that has unique usability functions. It's common across all projects, so there's a commonality, ease of use in there. But then again, these tools, because they're already kind of baseline in a real-time game engine, they can evolve to digital twins from that. So then we started a foundation of a common theme of thread of the data evolving into digital delivery products at the end, as opposed to, oh, we did an animation or we did a still. So that's part of the design visualization. You'll see a number of things here. Obviously, these are common things to these environments, which is weather systems, traffic systems, people, and so forth, that give another level of immersion. And I can't say how many times that we've actually just, even a Twinmotion cloud thing has been very powerful and potent for people understanding public spaces and environments, design environments, and so forth. So that will lead us a little bit more to what we're thinking about in the future in a minute. But then see here, we'll have different design options. And we are actively working with some of the cloud streaming, pixel streaming environments to be able to then escape the idea of having to deliver Windows executables that require high GPU or CPU type things to drive that. So this is a project in Texas, so it's kind of cool that we got that. So that's kind of a design visualization tool that we're using.
Moving on to a little bit more of our design review. Currently, we are using this a lot with our engineers in-house. And so obviously there's a lot of information on the slide. I don't expect you guys to read any of that at all. But with our digital delivery group, we really encompass a lot of technology that's being used on our projects. We work with so many different people on a day-to-day basis, and this data needs to go across every person. There's someone touching it all the time. Our projects are massive. It's hard to understand and have a scope of what is actually happening on projects. So bringing people into a design review to bring this information in together. So experiencing this in VR, so you can have conversations, you can bring all of this data in with you. So then that way you can have cross conversations about multiple different topics, about multiple things that people are specialized in, and in a space where we're global, so you can have those conversations together in your home locations. Obviously, you want to choose specialists and people that know their information from anywhere in the world because not everybody is going to be in one city at one time. So really just using the designer view in XR to bring all of this information together, not just for our digital delivery teams and the people touching some of those technologies, but for our engineers working with our clients so they can understand this information better, because a lot of this they don't care about. They don't want to see the nitty-gritty stuff. They want stuff that works for them all the way through to construction, and then when we hand it over to them, they want their building to work. They want everything that we've designed to work. So really knowing our audience for the design reviews, of going from the specifics on our engineering teams, of going into rooms and being able to make measurements in the space and walk through, because we have young engineers that don't know what these facilities look like. You may be in Cincinnati, Ohio, working on a project in Germany. So getting to review their design, walking through it, really helps them visualize what they're doing, and then everything through our clients being able to see that as well.
Excellent. And so then to kind of add on to what Allison just said, that process of understanding what the needs and requirements are is key to also client public engagement projects. So this is an augmented reality application. It's a number of things. It's an augmented reality application primarily both built on Android and iOS to help a group of students at a local high school in Georgia understand the nature of a stream restoration project that was right adjacent to their high school. And we worked with a local county municipal department to help build this AR app that allowed the students, actually there's a club at the high school that was actually doing things relative to water, water and water resource management and so forth. So we thought, what a great way then to use an application, an extended reality application, to help bring them into that process. So we built both VR and AR experiences on that for them, both Windows, Mac on the VR side, and then iOS and Android on the AR side. And we built it not only for use with target-based environment for teaching, as you saw the site plan there, which many people who don't know what a site plan, topography, inlet, outlet, things like that for engineering purposes are, when you immediately put that model on top of there, they understand it. So the same thing we built, and actually this is the precursor. There's actually final signage at that site where you can go out and you can see what that future looks like. And not only is it the future condition of the stream restoration, it shows why the different elements, the best management practices occurred to help the students understand why certain things look a certain way. We also had the ability to grow the trees over time to see what it would look like a 0, 5, and 10 year. And then we even thought, I'll talk a little bit more about it in the future, but there's much more that could be done with this that would really help engage people on a learning process and so forth. Another project we did just recently, which I'll go through pretty quickly, which is, in many cases, AR for design visualization is difficult because the nature of the technology requires a green site, a green field site, or an IKEA in your room on the floor. So there's no way to rotoscope things behind things. So in this case, what we had is a new facility on a site that had a line of trees. So instead of saying we're going to do AR and you're going to put the AR in front of the tree line, which really doesn't give you a spatial orientation correctly of the design, we went out and said we'll create a kind of pseudo AR experience where you actually go out, you tag a tree, and that tree tags a 360 photocomp render of that environment. And we went to 3 different spots, so you could actually have a AR experience even without AR. So I think that's what I would say is we're always consistently looking for things that can help drive the message and deliver that in a unique manner. So that's what we did here for this airport project. Diving into the next level is training. We have a product called Real Scene First Responder. And this is to help to train traffic incident management response trainers and first responders to act safely on sites. You can imagine all of us have seen the highway accidents and so forth, very dangerous. We used VR to develop a platform for them to be able to build the accident scenes, reconstruct either previous accident scenes or build new ones, and then have the trainers teach the first responders how to appropriately and safely act on that site. So it's a fully immersive 6 degrees of freedom, full integration of over 300 assets, integration of 6 different scene types and so forth to be able to help drive a training experience that then could be used, obviously, for the first responder training, traffic management response training, but we found so many other uses, and I think that's a key consistent messaging around XR, is that if you deliver a solution inherently there's so many other use cases for it that you don't even understand. And so we've been able to help use, this has been used for event planning, scenario planning, and so forth. In fact, we've even evolved this much further beyond here. We now have actual photogrammetry being streamed in from cesium so they can reconstruct the accident scene on the actual site, so as opposed to a generic environment. But again, a pretty powerful way, and we're actually now doing where you can actually interactively build roadways, alignments, and so forth to build custom scenes as opposed to prototypical scenes. And another thing that kind of comes out of this that I'll speak to in a minute, but I kind of going to go ahead and throw it in here, was that when we had this displayed, another case study for how that can evolve is that, and probably many of you, everyone here in the US doesn't know how to drive around roundabouts, right? We all have experienced that. Continuous drive, don't stop, keep going. We had some of the transportation people that are doing public involvement say, could we use this to teach people how to drive around a traffic circle? We said, oh, that'd be easy. It's a very simple implementation of a controller device, actual going back to my sim thing, easy driving wheel, and you could have it at a public open house and show people how that would act. And then if you think about where they could go much further than that, it could go into other things like how do trucks act safely on highways and things like that. So there's a myriad of different uses. And of course, this is, as you saw in there, it's VR native capable, first-person point of view and things like that, where the trainers actually use this to train people on various different environments.
So digital twins, we've all heard it spoken about many times in the past 48 hours. And I'm pretty sure yesterday I heard the saying that there's 255 different definitions for digital twins. And so specifically with our life sciences group, we have these massive manufacturing facilities and so much information that can go into these. These models are huge. This information goes on for days. We could be tracking so much within these facilities. And right now, we're focusing on specific parts of the facility. So we're looking at one line, one process, one grouping that we have a couple engineers on that are extremely knowledgeable about what they're doing. And so we're working with them in the design phases right now and through construction, so then we can be tracking all of the information from one specific line at a time. And then we work with our digital delivery team to be able to produce all of this data and compile it. We specifically use Power BI, I know a lot of people do, and bringing that information to the right people within our own company, but as well to the clients so that they can see all the information just from a specific area that I know they're focused on.
Excellent, thank you. So to speak to a little more about what I was saying about RealScene and creating a digital twin operating system platform. So Jacobs, as I mentioned, has huge knowledge and captured data throughout the years, over almost 80 years of experience. And these are beginning to be developed into databases that are used for projects. Things like Aqua DNA, Flood Modeler, EcoASIS. Again, I'm naming a bunch of names. You have no idea what they are, but I'm going to go ahead and I'll give you some ideas. So a replica. So we have everything from micro-method, multi-method simulations with a replica and things like that for water treatment plants and so forth, to VisSim, synchro traffic and pedestrian simulation, to things like EcoASIS, which is asset management, so basically cataloging of assets for any type of facility or campus and so forth. Flood Modeler, that's kind of self-explanatory, historical flood data and simulation environments. And so these all exist in their kind of own, we don't want to say silos, but they all exist for their own use and they can be applied on a project. But what a better way to do that than in a common data environment, a digital twin. And so we're looking at, with our RealScene platform, is providing and leveraging those data for all scales of projects, everything from a single facility all the way up to a campus. You'll see here, this is an actual Australian project where we have basically 20 different sites and campuses where we've integrated all the different BIM environments. And then you can see I'm the worst at having the number of different data, having small data on slides. But again, I just want to talk to the idea here. It's more thematic. But then you have the ability to click on assets, pull all that information from the EcoASIS asset management database, do work order assignments, and other things as far as relative to the flood modeling, see what the impacts are. So design impacts can be evaluated and understood in early design phases. And then this can go out for any variety of outputs for mobile work, for desktop and so forth. So that's really the foundational work that we began early on with first responder, which obviously is more of an asset generation scene generation thing, where this is actually true cataloging and integration of data sets across the board, and then leveraging that for helping people make and organizations make decisions about their facilities, think critically about the future, engage with their communities and so forth to help give them information about process and impacts in their future. So with that, we're going to dive into a bit about what reinventing tomorrow looks like. And I think Allison and I had some long conversations about what that means. And I think we all know that, long-term haptics and smell and all these other, the five senses become to be engaged, or larger data scales that begin to be ubiquitous and leveraged for these types of digital twins and design visualization, all these other use cases. But what we want to do is kind of think critically about where we are right now, and we're challenging those things as you saw, but what does it look like tomorrow? So design visualization. Allison, what do you think on that?
So we obviously know next week there could be something that comes out that does not exist currently. For design visualization especially, I know Autodesk University's this week, and I know they came out with Workshop, that their new program. So it's really just where are we going currently with the design visualization of what products are out there and how much we can grow with the size that we can hold in these models or in these programs, and where we can bring people in to get them to use this more.
I think also the end state or the kind of goal there is true design in XR, right? Someone's not modeling, linking to an XR environment, and then we're viewing something and someone makes a change on a desktop or a laptop. We want to be designing in that environment. So I think that we, obviously through the nature of the different environments, whether it be Bentley or Autodesk or any of the other platforms that are doing design, Open Roads and all these other different design platforms for whatever market, working in XR will be a game changer. And again, I mean, maybe reaching a little bit, but I've been hoping for these types of technologies to come to and think about teams. We thought about what Project The Wild looks like with immersive. That's more of a design review collaboration. What does it look like when you're designing in that environment? Mm-hmm. I think that's something that we look to. It's something we won't develop, but we're fostering those relationships in the industry to help build those things. And then design, development, and review.
It's the same thing as well with the review, that I know a lot of engineers would probably be really mad at me for saying that we could do this in VR. Right now, it scares the living heck out of them that we have people in VR touching the model and looking at everything that they're doing, because that means what they have to be designing has to be more precise, and they have to have all of the information in that model. And their biggest fear coming to me right now is, if someone changes it in VR, is it going to change in my model right now? Is this live that's tied back to it? And right now, no, it's not. But what a great way to be able to have that conversation in VR, so you can have multiple people in that model together. And it would be walking around and creating all of your technology, all of your equipment could be walking around through the space and actually editing your model instead of having to go back and forth between a headset or multiple pieces of equipment.
Or linking the micromethod simulations to that equipment in the process pipeline and understanding spatially what does that not only impact the design of the environment of your space looks like, but is it reachable by somebody in a human scale?
Exactly.
Yeah. So then into client public engagement things, I kind of keep going on where we were theorizing with the Garner Creek thing, is that we thought, what if we applied gamification concepts to the environment? What if you had ability for the students to tag a tree, and then they can watch that tree grow over time and study what kind of tree is it? How does it impact the environment? What does it do in terms of the stream restoration and so forth? So I think that there's all these types of things to bring immersion into these XR experiences using the current technologies, but yet these are things that are achievable today. On the training side, again, the same things. We're looking at, the AI. We didn't kind of get into AI. Our traffic simulation inside of our real scene first responder tool is an AI traffic-based environment. But I think there's opportunities there, again, for how do you take things, a situation that's a simulation, and drive simulated artificial intelligence environments or NPCs to help prompt in training environments and things like that. So that's what we're thinking about, the low-hanging fruit. And then on digital delivery, or on digital twins, do you have something to?
I think no matter what I say, you guys are going to be like, oh, it's just another idea that's up there. We are here for a reason at this conference, to be able to talk to people about what we see in the future for these digital twins. It's a buzzword this week that everybody keeps on saying. So there's so many options of where it can grow. There's more companies that are coming out with different things that you can use so you don't have to create them ourselves. I know I'm lucky over here having Jim on my side to have some sort of creation ourselves. But with the 255 descriptions of what digital twins are today, it's really how can we narrow that down so then when I'm talking to a coworker who's never heard of it before, that I can tell them in a simple sentence, this is what it is, instead of them Googling it and not understanding any of the terms.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Any questions from anybody? Great question. And that really comes down to aggregation and setting common platforms. So for it to, or writing custom APIs. So in some cases with our clients, we are writing custom APIs to interface with their data on the back end. That's more of it's a difficult situation. It really depends on the different need for the client to have the digital twin, but obviously their data is key. And then trying to reorient their data to something we're doing or into our platform becomes difficult. So, and historically, my group's front end. We're not back end. So, but we're now aligned better with some of the back end people, and I think that we're definitely going to see more and more of the data aggregation, API, custom API development be key to these processes of digital twins. Any other questions? Well, we thank you very much. It was great to speak to you and great to talk to many of you here. And I hope you have a great rest of your conference.
Thank you, everyone.